Your power could be out for days. Not hours, days. And if you are watching this right now from anywhere between Texas and Boston, the next 72 hours will determine whether you are prepared or caught completely off guard. This is not a drill. Right now, as I am speaking to you, meteorological models are showing something we have not seen in over a decade. A winter storm so massive, so destructive, that the National Weather Prediction Center, the most conservative weather forecasters in America, are already warning about ice accumulation exceeding 1 inch in multiple states. 1 inch of ice. Do you know what that does to power lines? It snaps them like toothpicks. But here is what is really happening. And this is the part that is going to shock you. Within the last 12 hours, this storm has shifted north by 150 miles. 150 miles. That is the distance from Dallas to Oklahoma City. Think about that. Entire cities that thought they were going to get light snow are now in the bullseye for catastrophic ice. Cities that were preparing for ice are now looking at over a foot of snow. This storm is rewriting the forecast faster than we can update it. And here is your first reward for staying with me. At exactly the 3-minute 20-second mark of this video, I am going to show you the single most dangerous corridor in America right now. The exact interstate highways where you absolutely cannot be on Friday or Saturday, because if you are on those roads, you will not make it home. So where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments and I will personally tell you what you need to prepare for, because this storm is not treating everyone the same. Some of you are looking at 2 feet of snow. Some of you are looking at a 1/4 inch of ice that will shut down your power for a week. And some of you are in the worst spot of all. You are in the transition zone. Let me paint you a picture of what is happening in the atmosphere right now, because this is not a normal winter storm. This is a meteorological perfect storm, and understanding why makes all the difference. Imagine a massive high-pressure system, one of the strongest we have seen in years, dropping down from Canada like a frozen bulldozer. This thing is literally pushing Arctic air, North Pole air, across the entire United States. And when I say Arctic, I mean temperatures that we have not felt in over 10 years in many locations. We are talking about cold that arrives on Saturday and does not leave for days. Not 1 day, not 2 days. This cold has staying power. Now, here is where it gets dangerous. That cold air is shallow. It is hugging the ground like a frozen blanket, maybe only 2,000 to 3,000 feet deep. But above that shallow, cold layer, we have got warm, moist air streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. Warm air riding on top of cold air. And when those 2 layers meet, when precipitation falls from those warm clouds through that thin layer of freezing air, you do not get snow. You get something far worse. You get freezing rain. Rain that stays liquid until the exact moment it hits your windshield, your trees, your power lines, your roof. And then it freezes instantly, building up layer after layer after layer. 1/10 of an inch of ice can snap tree branches. 1/4 inch can bring down power lines. 1/2 inch can make roads completely impassable, turning highways into ice skating rinks where cars cannot stop, cannot turn, cannot do anything except slide. And the National Weather Prediction Center is already talking about 1 inch of ice in some locations. 1 inch. That is not a power outage for a few hours. That is infrastructure destruction. That is days, potentially a week or more without electricity, in some of the coldest temperatures we have seen in a decade. But wait, because there is more. This is not just an ice storm. This is not just a snowstorm. This is both happening simultaneously across different parts of the country and in some locations, happening in the same place at the same time. Let me show you what Saturday, January 24th is going to look like. By 10 a.m. Saturday morning, southwest Missouri is going to be buried under heavy snow. We are talking 8 to 12 inches in some spots. Meanwhile, just 200 miles to the south, the Red River Valley, the area around Little Rock, Arkansas, is going to be experiencing the worst ice storm it has seen in years. Heavy ice accumulation, power lines coming down, trees snapping under the weight. And Dallas? Dallas is sitting right on the knife edge. Right now, the models show Dallas getting a mix of rain and freezing rain. But here is the terrifying part. If the temperature in Dallas drops just 1 degree, just one single degree colder than what we are forecasting right now, Dallas goes from a messy rain event to a catastrophic ice storm. 1 degree, that is how close you are. So if you are in Dallas, do not let your guard down. You are absolutely in the crosshairs. Now we are at the 3-minute 20 mark. Here is what I promised you. The most dangerous corridor in America this weekend. Interstate 35 from Dallas North through Oklahoma. Interstate 30 from Dallas Northeast through Little Rock to Memphis. Interstate 40 from Little Rock through Memphis to Nashville. These highways, this entire corridor, is going to be the epicenter of the ice accumulation. The bullseye for disaster. If you have travel plans on these roads Friday or Saturday, cancel them now. Not tomorrow, now. Because by Friday evening, these highways will be parking lots of crashed vehicles and jackknife trucks. The Weather Service is not mincing words. Ice accumulation over 1 inch is possible along this corridor. Memphis, Little Rock, areas around Texarkana, maybe even Jackson, Tennessee. These are not small towns. These are major cities with hundreds of thousands of people, and their power grids are about to be tested like they have not been tested in years. And remember, the cold that comes after this storm is not going away. Even after the ice stops falling, even after the snow stops, temperatures are going to stay below freezing for days. That means that ice is not melting. That means repair crews are going to be working in dangerous, freezing conditions to try to restore power. That means if you lose power Saturday, you might not get it back until Tuesday or Wednesday or even later. So if you are in Little Rock, if you are in Memphis, if you are anywhere in Arkansas or Tennessee, and you have not started preparing for multiple days without power, you are behind. You need to act now. But let me shift gears, because this storm is not just about ice. The northern edge of this system is going to produce absolutely massive snowfall totals. Oklahoma City to Wichita, Kansas, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Amarillo, Texas, 8 to 10 inches. And then there is this band, this connecting band of extremely heavy snow that the models have not quite figured out yet. Right now, we have got one blob of heavy snow over Kansas and Missouri, and another blob back toward the Midwest. But meteorology tells us there is going to be a connection between these two areas. A thin corridor where snowfall totals could exceed 1 foot, maybe even approach 18 inches in some spots. And that corridor could include St. Louis. It could include Jonesboro. It could include Springfield or Bentonville, Arkansas. We do not know exactly where yet because we are still 3 to 4 days out. But someone in that region is going to wake up Sunday morning to find their car buried under 1.5 feet of snow. Now let me talk about what just changed, because this is important. Yesterday, cities like Nashville, Tennessee, were looking at over 1 foot of snow. Today, the forecast has shifted. Nashville is now looking at 5 to 8 inches of snow with significant ice accumulation on top of that. The warm nose, that warm air aloft, has crept farther north than we thought, which means more ice, less snow. And honestly, that might be worse, because heavy snow you can deal with. You shovel, you plow, you clear it, but ice? Ice is a different beast entirely. Lexington, Kentucky is still looking at around 1 foot of snow. Pikeville, Eastern Kentucky, 8 to 10 inches. Cincinnati, 10 inches. These areas are going to get hammered. But then we get to the East Coast, and this is where the storm really explodes. From Richmond, Virginia, all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts, we are talking about a major, potentially historic snowstorm. 1 foot or more of snow is likely across a huge swath of the Interstate 95 corridor. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, all looking at 1 foot plus of snow. Some areas could see 18 inches. Now, I want to be honest with you. I think the current forecast might be showing too large of an area with extremely high snow totals. I am not completely sold that places like Williamsport or Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, farther inland from the coast, are going to see the full foot to 18 inches. I think the heaviest snow, the jackpot zone, is going to be a bit more focused along the immediate coast and immediate suburbs. But even if I am right, we are still talking about a legitimate snowstorm that is going to shut down major cities for at least a day. And here is the kicker. After the main storm moves through, A coastal low-pressure system is going to ride up the East Coast, amplifying snow totals even further for New England. So Boston, Portland, Maine, you are not just getting one shot of snow. You are getting a 1-2 punch. Let me talk about the Carolinas for a moment, because I know a lot of you are watching from Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro, Asheville. And I have got some unfortunate news. The big snow that looked possible a couple days ago, that is not happening anymore. The recent model runs show ice being a much bigger problem for North Carolina than snow. Raleigh to Greensboro, you are looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow, but ice is going to be the main story. Just north of Winston-Salem, there might be a few spots that squeeze out 6 inches of snow, but your biggest problem all across North Carolina is going to be ice accumulation. And Asheville, I need you to pay attention, because this is serious. You are not going to see as much freezing rain as places like Little Rock or Memphis, but it does not take as much ice to cause problems in the mountains. You have more trees, denser forests, and a lot of your power infrastructure runs through those wooded hills. A half inch of ice in Asheville can cause the same level of power outages as an inch of ice in a flatter area. Branches fall, trees come down, power lines snap. So even though your ice totals might be lower, your risk is just as high. Make sure you are prepared. Stock up on food, water, batteries, flashlights. If you have a generator, make sure it is fueled and ready to go. If you do not have a generator, think about where you can go if you lose power for multiple days in sub-freezing temperatures. Now, I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier, because this is critical. The engine driving this entire historic event is a crazy strong high-pressure system coming out of Canada. This is not just a little cold front. This is a massive, sprawling area of Arctic high pressure that is going to park itself over the central and eastern United States and just sit there. And when Arctic high pressure sits and stalls, it does not just bring cold for a day, it brings cold that locks in. We are talking about temperatures that could stay below freezing, even in the south, for 3, 4, 5 days straight. Maybe longer in some areas. So even after this storm is over, even after the snow stops and the ice stops, the cold is not going anywhere. It is going to be colder than it has been in over a decade for many locations. And that has huge implications for recovery, because utility crews trying to restore power are going to be working in dangerous, bone-chilling cold. Road crews trying to clear ice are going to be fighting temperatures that keep that ice frozen solid. This is not a storm that comes and goes. This is a storm that comes and lingers. And here is something that should really get your attention. There is already another signal in the models for another major snowstorm after this one. I am not going to talk details yet, because we need to get through this storm first. One thing at a time. But the pattern we are in right now, this intense winter pattern, is not going anywhere fast. We could be looking at multiple significant winter storms over the next couple of weeks. So, let me walk you through the timeline, because timing is everything. Friday, January 23rd. This is when it all starts. We have got an enhanced risk of winter weather from Oklahoma City to Little Rock. If you are in the purple shaded area on the Weather Service maps, you need to be locked in and ready by Thursday night. Do not wait until Friday morning, because by Friday morning, conditions are going to be deteriorating fast. Saturday, January 24th. This is the big day. This is when the most people are going to be impacted. This is when the storm is at its worst. If you do not care about the weather normally, you are going to care on Saturday. I guarantee it. The enhanced risk area is going to shift north with the next Weather Service update, likely expanding to cover even more territory. And then Sunday, January 25th, the storm moves into the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Heavy snow for the Interstate 95 corridor. We are talking about a legitimate shutdown of major cities. Travel is going to be extremely dangerous, if not impossible, across a huge portion of the eastern United States. Now, let me get specific, because I know some of you want details for your exact location. If you are in Dallas, you are on the edge. Mixed precipitation is likely, and if it trends just 1 degree colder, you are looking at serious ice. 2 inches of snow is possible, but freezing rain is the bigger threat. Do not travel unless absolutely necessary. If you are in Little Rock, you are in the bullseye for ice. 8 inches of snow is possible in Bentonville just to your north, but you are looking at heavy icing. Prepare for extended power outages. If you are in Memphis, same story. Ice accumulation over 1 inch is possible. This could be catastrophic for infrastructure. Prepare now. If you are in Nashville, 5 to 8 inches of snow with significant ice on top of that. This is going to be a mess. Roads will be impassable. If you are in Lexington, about a foot of snow is likely. This is a significant snowstorm. Traveling is going to be extremely difficult. If you are in Cincinnati, 10 inches of snow. Again, a major winter storm. Plan to stay home. If you are in Pittsburgh, 10 inches is the current forecast. That could bury the city. If you are in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, or Boston, you are looking at a foot or more of snow, potentially up to 18 inches in some areas. This is a major, potentially historic snowstorm for the Interstate 95 corridor. Airlines are going to cancel flights. Schools are going to close. This is a big deal. And if you are anywhere in Virginia or the Carolinas, you are in that tricky zone where ice is going to be the main story. Even if you only get a couple inches of snow, the ice on top of that is going to make everything dangerous and could knock out power for days. Here is what you need to do right now. Not later, right now. 1. Stock up on essentials. Food that does not require cooking. Water. Medications. Baby supplies if you have young kids. Pet food if you have animals. Do not assume stores will be open or stocked on Friday and Saturday. 2. Charge everything. Your phone, your laptop, your tablets, your portable chargers. If the power goes out, you want every device fully charged. 3. Prepare for power outages. If you have a generator, test it now. Make sure you have fuel. If you do not have a generator, know where you can go if you lose power. A friend's house, a family member, a warming shelter. Do not wait until you are sitting in a freezing dark house to figure this out. 4. Avoid travel. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not absolutely have to be on the roads Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, stay home. The roads are going to be dangerous, potentially deadly. Every winter storm, we see people who think they can make it, and they end up stuck, stranded, or worse. 5. Bring in anything outside that could be damaged by ice or blown around by wind. Patio furniture, decorations, anything loose. Ice and wind together can turn loose objects into projectiles. 6. If you have elderly neighbors or family members who live alone, check on them. Make sure they are prepared. Offer to help them get supplies if they need it. And 7. Stay informed. Keep checking forecasts. This storm is still evolving. It is still shifting. What looks certain today might change tomorrow. But the core message is not going to change. This is a dangerous, potentially historic winter storm, and you need to be prepared. Now, I mentioned earlier that I want you to drop your location in the comments. Here is why. I am going to be doing 2 videos a day, every day, until this storm passes. And I am going to be reading comments and giving personalized updates for different cities and regions. So tell me where you are. Tell me what you are seeing. Tell me what you are concerned about, and I will do my best to give you the most accurate, up-to-date information I can. Because here is the thing. National forecasts are great, but they do not tell you everything. They do not tell you about the specific microclimates in your area. They do not account for the fact that your town sits in a valley that always gets colder, or on a hill that sometimes stays just warm enough to get rain instead of ice. Local details matter, and the more information we can share with each other, the better prepared we all are. So drop your city in the comments. Right now. Do not wait. Tell me where you are watching from. Let me also talk about something that does not get enough attention during winter storms. Mental preparation. Because being stuck inside for multiple days, potentially without power, potentially in the cold and dark, that is hard. It is stressful. It tests your patience and your resilience. So think about this now. If the power goes out, how are you going to stay warm? How are you going to keep your kids occupied if they are home from school? How are you going to keep your spirits up when you are on day 3 without electricity and you are tired and cold and frustrated? Have a plan. Have board games or books or cards. Have blankets and warm clothes set aside. Have a way to heat at least one room safely if you lose power. Have a support system. People you can call or text, even if you are just venting about how miserable it is. Winter storms are physically challenging, but they are mentally challenging too. And being prepared mentally is just as important as being prepared physically. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to talk about what happens after the storm, because the storm itself is only part of the story. The recovery from a major ice storm can take days, even weeks in some cases. Power companies have to assess damage, bring in crews from other states, and then work in dangerous conditions to restore power. Trees blocking roads have to be cleared. Ice has to melt or be removed. It is a slow process. And during that recovery period, temperatures are going to stay dangerously cold. So even if your power comes back after one day, your neighbor might be without power for 3 or 4 more days. Community matters during times like this. Help each other. Share generators if you can. Offer a warm place to stay. Check on people who might be struggling. This storm is going to be hard. It is going to be dangerous. It is going to disrupt lives across a huge portion of the country. But we get through these things by preparing, by staying informed, and by helping each other. Here is what is coming next. Tomorrow, I'm going to have another update for you in the morning and another one in the evening. I am going to be tracking every model run, every shift in the forecast, and I'm going to be here, giving you the information you need to stay safe. Friday, I am probably going to go live as this storm starts to develop. Saturday, definitely going live, because that is when the worst conditions hit. And Sunday, I will be live again as the storm moves into the northeast. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure notifications are turned on, because this is not a storm you want to lose track of. Things are changing fast, and you need to stay updated. And here is a teaser for tomorrow. There is a possibility, just a possibility, that this storm shifts back south overnight. The models have been waffling, going north, then stabilizing, and there is a chance they could trend back the other direction. If that happens, everything I just told you changes. Cities that thought they were safe suddenly are not. Cities bracing for ice might get heavy snow instead. I do not think the shift is going to be as dramatic as the northward shift we just saw, but I cannot rule it out. So tomorrow morning, first thing, I am going to break down the overnight model runs and tell you if anything has changed. And if it has, I will tell you exactly what that means for your city. This is a fluid situation. This is an evolving forecast. And that is exactly why you need to keep coming back, keep checking in, keep staying informed. Because in a storm this big, this complex, things can change hour by hour. So here is my final message to you. Take this seriously. Prepare now. Do not wait. Do not assume it is going to miss you or that it will not be as bad as they are saying. The National Weather Service does not throw around words like catastrophic ice storm lightly. When they are warning about ice accumulation over 1 inch, they mean it. When they are forecasting a foot of snow for major cities, they mean it. This is real, this is dangerous, and it is coming fast. Drop your city in the comments so I can give you a personalized update. Make sure you are subscribed and notifications are on. And I will see you tomorrow morning with the latest information. Stay safe out there, be smart, prepare now, and I will talk to you very soon.